Welcome to A Cup of Grace here at the Haven for Women, Home of Grace for Women in Goshen, Mississippi. And I have the incredible pleasure today of being joined by Delissa Castleberry, one of my favorite people on the planet. And Delissa, you've been a counselor here at the Haven for how long?
February was 14 years, Wayne.
Wow, that's a long time. But you're still young, though. How do you do that?
Good genes, Wayne. Good genes.
I want to talk to you about your duties here just for a moment.
Okay.
And what areas of responsibility you have as a counselor here.
Yeah, well, primary it is counseling, meeting with the ladies,
Right.
one-on-one groups, conducting a couple of groups a week. I stay in contact with their families as much as possible. A lot of times that involves sending emails back and forth. You know, how is Susie doing? Well, we're struggling today. Well, will you tell her this? And that's an encouragement for the ladies, you know, when they hear words from their families through the counselor sometimes. That lets them know, hey, they're thinking about me. They didn't just drop me off, you know. And then, of course, we deal with child protection services a good bit with letters and recommendations, legal things. I think one of my favorite things is Family Day, you know, visitation on Saturday when we have the visitation. You get to know the families a little bit and see the interaction with the ladies with their spouse or their parents or their children, and that kind of helps know we need to work on this in counseling.
I think a lot of people, when they hear that someone's a counselor, they think, oh, that would be so neat to sit there and just talk to people all. But it's a lot more than that, is it not?
Yeah, there's more listening than talking,
more
actually.
Listening.
A lot more listening and
the best
observing.
Counselors are the best listeners, right?
Correct.
I know that from everything that I've gleaned during my time here at the Home of Grace, that you are one of the most effective counselors that we have.
Well, thank you.
I'm just saying that because it's true.
Oh, thank you.
Anyway, I'm so glad that you're here. And you and I have known each other even before our days at the Home of Grace. And we developed a friendship way back when.
Yeah, we enjoyed teaching that class together way back when.
We sure did.
At the church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, if you will, what your typical day is like when you get here and enter into your counseling routine.
Typical as in what's supposed to be, or typical? Here, when you're a counselor at Home of Grace, and
it's atypical, right?
It's atypical. You know, you come in, you know, sort through your email, look at your notes. You've got your counseling schedule, you know, and you try to stay on time with that. Answering calls from
parents back home.
Yes. Returning phone calls. There's a lot of phone calls involved. Checking out, you know, you'll have a client that's having a problem with another client, so you bring them in and you try to teach them to communicate, which means one talks while one listens.
Can't we all just get along?
And I try to help them understand that, you know, everybody's here. We're on the same team. And sometimes that's difficult to understand that, hey, we're all fighting this war for life. Yeah. So, and I teach a parenting class here too, so that's one of my joys. I love helping the moms see that they can do this. And now that they're getting sober-minded, here's some things that maybe you didn't learn as a child that wasn't taught to you, or maybe you forgot. And they need you. They need their mother. A child always wants their mom. And sometimes they think that the ladies think that they've messed up so bad that they'll never want them back in their lives. Well, that's a lie from Satan.
The children are the most forgiving human beings on the planet.
Yes.
Especially toward their moms.
Very resilient, especially toward their moms, because they need their mother.
Right.
Big time.
Let me just ask you this. if you could say something to first of all, to that person who has thought very seriously about going to rehab somewhere. If you could say something to her, what would it be to encourage her to go ahead and come on in?
To come on in? Now's the time. Come on in. We are here because God brought us here. This is a ministry that you don't just work here. You're here because you care. And you'll be loved on where you are. You don't clean it up to get here. You come here to allow God to work that in your life. Come. As that song, the one we sing at church, come just as you are. Because that's how God receives us, and that's why I'm here at Home of Grace. I can't imagine being anywhere else other than a place where we allow the Spirit of God to heal. Now granted, we get real too. We talk about the ups and downs and the problems with people in your life and how to cope and what are you going to do when you're feeling this way. But bottom line is, just come and see what we're about. It takes 2 or 3 weeks to get here, even after you're here.
Yeah, right.
And you got to understand that that's just going to take a minute for your mind to get here, for your heart to get here. Because that world out there is so, it eats up so much of your time and it keeps you busy so you don't figure out what's going on in your heart. And God starts with the heart. I guess, Wayne, I've always been asked, what is your counseling philosophy? I did that in grad school. Got to have a counseling philosophy. And mine is, if the heart doesn't change, nothing changes. So that when you get here and you allow God to work that change in your heart, everything changes.
I've got one other question for you, and it's this. Or rather, I'm going to ask you to do one other thing for me. I want you to speak to the parents or the husband or the friends, those people back home that have a real burden for this one person who they know need to be in rehab. What encouragement would you have for them? And what advice would you have for them to remain engaged in that person?
Ladies need to know that you're there for them. I think one of the things that women deal with so much is they need to feel safe. They need to know that they matter. They need to feel that somebody cares. But don't we all? So parents, husbands, children, whoever you are back there that are trying to get your loved one here, pray. Pray that God gives you the guidance and the wherewithal, and pray for your loved one and let them know you love them so much that you need them to be here first for themselves, for the lady, and for you, because you want them back in your life. I think sometimes when ladies go so far in their addiction, they feel like even God's thrown them off the cliff. And that's not true. That's the enemy whispering in their ear. So the biggest thing I can say is love them. Love them, support them, encourage big time. Encourage them and let them know you're in their corner. Because that means so much. And then after they get here, write those cards and letters. Write those letters, guys, because around here letters are gold. They're gold. They'd rather have a note or a letter from their husband or their children more than anything.
One of the things that I hear an awful lot is that 3 months of my life, that's like years. No, it's not. And I mean, think about where you were 3 months ago.
Right.
And it's 3 months later now. And it's just like that. And to have the kind of help that's offered at the Home of Grace, that will absolutely transform your life into the most spectacular miracle that you could ever imagine for only 3 months. That's a deal right there that I don't think I could ever pass up. So that's one thing that I think that needs to be conveyed. Delissa,
Yeah.
I've had fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being a part of what we do here.
You're welcome.
Today.
We'll do it again.
I can't wait. And you folks back home, thank you so much for being a part of A Cup of Grace here at the Home of Grace. See you next time.